Hello and welcome back to another episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Jonathan Domow, joined by our forecaster, Rebecca Newell. And Rebecca, what's the outlook for Valentine's Day this year?
Well, there is still going to be snow on the ground, but temperatures are going to be, well, a bit above freezing, somewhere around the low 40s. So if you do have outdoor plans, just make sure you wear a jacket or maybe some other layers, a scarf or so, and you should be fine.
Well, 40 degrees sounds like a lot higher than what we've been experiencing in the past. And we'll get more into that in Rebecca's forecast, but first, here's Nature in the News.
Last year was a year of weather extremes in America. Reflective analysis shows 2025 was one of the most costly weather disaster years in U.S. history. From LA catching on fire to the first EF5 tornado in 12 years, extreme weather affected millions of people nationwide. Very little of the U.S. was spared. In the West, wildfires burned longer and spread faster after record heat and dry conditions. In the Midwest and central U.S., powerful storm systems brought flooding and destructive tornadoes, damaging homes and displacing families. And across much of the country, prolonged heat waves strained power grids and caused widespread drought conditions. While these events didn't happen all at once, their collective impact added up to billions of dollars in damages and lasting effects on communities that are still rebuilding. 2026 looks to be falling into 2025's footsteps, beginning with a rather extreme winter. Last month's winter storm Fern racked up estimated losses between $4 to $7 billion in damages.
A recent cold snap in Florida is a powerful reminder of how even small temperature changes can have major impacts, especially after a 410-pound manatee was rescued from a storm drain in Melbourne Beach, while likely searching for warmer water. Manatees are highly sensitive to cold stress, and when water temperatures drop below about 68 degrees, they can become sluggish and disoriented, pushing them to seek out warmer spots such as power plant outflows, shallow canals, or other human-made water systems. As colder air masses occasionally push south into subtropical Florida during winter pattern shifts, marine life feels those changes as well, just as much as we do. This rescue highlights how cold fronts do more than lower air temperatures. They influence ocean temperatures, animal behavior, and entire coastal ecosystems. Weather is not just something we experience, it is something wildlife must survive too.
Storm Marta battered the Iberian Peninsula last weekend, making it the third deadly Atlantic storm to hit Spain and Portugal in just 2 weeks. It follows Storm Kristen that hit towards the end of January and Storm Leonardo earlier last week, which also brought severe flooding and damage. Storm Marta swept across the region on Saturday the 7th, bringing torrential rain and damaging winds over landscapes that were still soaked from the earlier weather systems. At least 2 people are confirmed dead as a result of the flooding. Meteorological services in both countries issued warnings as rivers rose quickly and infrastructure faced fresh strain from saturated soils and swollen waterways. Officials are urging caution as additional rain is forecasted across parts of Spain and Portugal later this week.
A prolonged stretch of below freezing temperatures in Estonia has allowed officials to open a rare ice road across the frozen Baltic Sea, creating a temporary highway made entirely of solid sea ice, so residents can drive between the mainland and nearby islands. For an ice road to open, temperatures must remain cold enough for an extended period of time so the ice thickens enough to safely support vehicles. Officials are constantly measuring the ice depth and monitoring wind and temperature trends because even the slightest warming can weaken the surface. This is a powerful example of how sustained cold air masses can transform an entire transportation system, showing that winter weather is not just about snow and wind chill, but about how temperature patterns shape infrastructure, daily life, and safety decisions.
Conditions are looking lovely this weekend as temperatures continue to rise. For your Friday, you have high pressure to our southwest and that's going to be pushing air down, keeping winds light, and even providing us with some peaks of sunshine throughout the day. And clockwise winds around this high pressure system would normally give us the chance for lake effect snow, but since Lake Erie is almost entirely frozen over, we shouldn't be seeing any more lake effect snow for the entirety of this winter. As you head into Saturday, your Valentine's Day, this high pressure system is going to be moving a little bit closer to State College, but it is going to weaken a little bit, so it's not going to be keeping the sunshine as intense as it was on Friday, but it should be keeping those winds light, so your feels like temperature should resemble the actual surface temperature, which should be around 41 degrees on Valentine's Day. So if you have outdoor plans, just make sure you wear a coat or a scarf or something of the like, just so you can keep yourself warm throughout your Valentine's Day. Now Sundays, where things get a little bit trickier, we have this low pressure system that you saw bringing rain in the last map. It begins to travel northeast, and some models have it showing it going over the Atlantic before it hits us. Some models have it showing us getting some rain Sunday morning, but based on the more recent model trends, most models have it showing going over the Atlantic, so that's why I have the graphic the way it is. But on the off chance that we do get some rain Sunday morning, it should be done by the afternoon. Now for your recap, on Friday, you have a high of 34 degrees, partly sunny skies, so again, few peaks of sunshine before clouds begin to build up just a little bit overnight, a low of 26 degrees. Saturday, a high of 41 degrees. Your Valentine's Day will be quite warm with those light winds. It shouldn't be cool, even though the skies are mostly cloudy. Now Saturday night, the clouds build up even more with a low of 23 degrees. And Sunday, with the chance of rain in the morning and a high of 38. And now, here's your feature on the Winter Olympics.
The year is 1924. Hundreds of athletes have gathered in the small town of Chamonix in eastern France, ready to compete in various winter sports. There have been talks of creating a Winter Olympics to complement the Summer Olympics all the way back since 1911. But those talks stalled throughout the early 1910s and throughout World War I. But in 1921, those talks resumed, and in 1924, France offered to host the International Winter Sports Week, retroactively named the first Winter Olympic Games. Over 250 athletes from 16 nations gathered to compete in skiing, skating, hockey, bobsled, and other snow and ice sports, laying the foundation for what would grow into one of the world's most premier sporting traditions, the Winter Olympics. Since then, the Winter Olympics have been held every 4 years, with 2 cycles having to be skipped due to World War II. For nearly 100 years, the Winter Olympic Games have brought the world together in celebration of snow and ice, a global stage where athletes could showcase their high level of athleticism in hopes for gold. Over the decades, the Winter Olympics have expanded dramatically. By the early 21st century, thousands of athletes from more than 90 countries competed in more than 100 events across all of the winter sports. This has brought the world countless memories, such as the United States win over the Soviet Union in hockey, dubbed the Miracle on Ice. This year, the Winter Olympics are being held in Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy, which began on February 8, 2026 with the opening ceremony. Over 3,500 athletes from 93 countries are competing in 116 events throughout the Games. However, there is a growing problem with the Winter Olympics, but it has nothing to do with the athletes. Snow and cold conditions are becoming increasingly unreliable. Snowfall is declining, snowpack is shrinking, and temperatures are rising in many places. February temperatures in every Olympic host city since 1950 have warmed by an average of 4.8 degrees Fahrenheit. In Cortina d'Ampezzo, February temperatures have risen by 6.4 degrees Fahrenheit since 1956, the last time the city hosted the Olympics. That translates to around 41 fewer days below freezing each year, from 214 to 173, a 20% decline since the 1950s and 1960s. Without reliably cold temperatures, snow is wetter and thinner, conditions are rainier, and for athletes, that can be dangerous. Many people blamed warmer conditions for higher rates of crashes in the 2014 Winter Olympics hosted in Sochi, Russia. Experts stated that it was like skiing on a slushie. That's not the only issue the Olympic Committee is looking into. With the world warming, the number of options for host cities is declining. In 2024, scientists analyzed 93 past and potential hosts for the Winter Olympics, focusing on whether they would have temperatures at or below freezing and be able to reliably deliver thick snow depths. They found that even if the countries live up to their climate policies and pledges, only 52 of these locations would be suitable for the games by the 2050s. Speaking of snow depths, that has also become an issue over the decades. Natural snow levels have been decreasing as temperatures rise, forcing host cities to use artificial snow. Manufactured snow was first used at the 1980 Games in Lake Placid, New York. Beijing, which held the 2022 Winter Olympics, relied almost entirely on snowmaking. This year, the organizing committee has produced nearly 2 million cubic yards of artificial snow for all the venues. A basin was also built at one of the snow parks, capable of holding up to 53 million gallons of water. A multitude of snow guns were also added, capable of creating over 200 million gallons of snow in just 300 hours, crucial for many events. So as we sit back and watch this year's Winter Olympics, remember that they were born in a small snowy town in France in 1924. They were built on ice, on snow, and on the certainty of cold winters. But today, that certainty is no longer guaranteed. As climate change continues to raise global temperatures, the Winter Olympics and its athletes will have to adapt and overcome this new challenge. Because without reliable winter conditions, the Games risk losing the very element that makes them so special. For Weather or Not, I'm Frank Gargione.
Your upcoming week is looking to be quite the shift from what we've been seeing last week, with highs pushing 50 degrees. But first, your weekend recap. Fridays, we're going to be seeing partly sunny skies with a high of 34 degrees and a low of 26. Saturday, a high of 41 with a low of 23. And with mild winds, your Valentine's Day is going to be feeling like 41 degrees. Now, Sunday, clouds are going to be building quite a bit with the chance of rain showers in the morning and a chance for a brief snow shower as you head into the overnight hours. But the high is going to be 38 and the low is 27. Now, as we head into your next week, as I mentioned, we're going to be seeing highs pushing 50 degrees, and the average temperature for this time of year is only around 38. So all of the temperatures throughout the week are above average. Monday, after the potential snow showers on Sunday night, we do see a little bit of clearing up. You're going to be seeing some sun, but the rest of the week is looking to be overcast and maybe rainy. Tuesday, those clouds build into Wednesday, where the warmth is at its peak for the week, just reaching 50 degrees. But again, we are seeing some rain showers, and those rain showers have the potential to happen both Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if rain isn't your thing, you might not be too happy, but I know I'm kind of excited to see it after all the snow that we've been experiencing. And hopefully those temperatures begin to melt the snow just a little bit. Now, here's your weather whiz quiz answer.
And the correct answer is B, 31 to 39 miles an hour. And Rebecca, that is really fast.
Yeah, it is really fast. Last weekend, we actually had a wind advisory here in State College. It was because of wind gusts, not sustained winds, though. We had wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour.
And what does something like that do to the feels like temperature?
Right, last weekend on Saturday, we had feels like temperatures below -10 the entire day because of those wind gusts. So it's pretty bad.
Well, good thing to look forward to is we will not be having wind gusts that high anywhere near there at all this weekend. Thank you for tuning into Weather or Not, and join us again next week for another episode of Weather or Not.